I'm Zane Blackwell from Eden, Texas, and I do knives. These are an example of my work. I really wanted to make knives from the time I was a teenager, and just felt like it was out of reach, didn't know where to start, and got a little nudge from one of my coworkers about 25 years ago, and just kind of stepped into it very timidly, kind of like sticking your toe in the water to see if it's cold or not, and the more I did, the more I wanted to do. My style has not changed much in a long time, strictly because of what I've been making. I've been making this knife second from the right. This large hunter is what I have been making the most of. I believe the trend is leaning back toward a forged knife, because I think people are tired of a throwaway society, and they want something that is both reminiscent of long ago, but well made, and they can hand it down to their children and grandchildren, etc. The American Bladesmith Society, who is where the forged makers belong, has got 2,000 members. That's pretty big now compared to what it was. I don't know that I'll ever feel like I've mastered it, but from those first awful creations to that one right there was probably about 20 years. The problem was I didn't make very many. I'd only make one or two a year. And when you only make one or two a year, you don't learn as fast. And so when I started making more, probably 10 years ago, when I started making more in a year, it's like anything else. It's like playing golf. If you play golf once every 2 years, you're not ever going to be good. But if you play golf every week, you're going to get better.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I did. And then I just dove headfirst into study. Books, videos, YouTube. My wife is sick of all the knife stuff laying around. Knife books, knife catalogs, knife videos. She is. No, as a matter of fact, no one was as surprised as me. I've come in on 2 occasions and found messages on my answering machine. Several years ago, had a lady from Southern Living wanted me to make a carving set for their Thanksgiving issue, for their, they set this table, do a spread, a Thanksgiving spread, and my carving set was on that table.
Wow. And
then a couple of years later, come in, there's another, out of the blue, someone from Tactical Knives magazine wanted to do an article, and we did it. And I was pleased as punch, but like I said, I didn't have any idea that would come along. The biggest percentage of what I do is hunting knives, because there's a demand for them here. And I believe that I'm on the cusp of turning again to more artistic pieces, and probably less of the hunting knives and more buoys like what's on the other side of the display. And I've gotten back into forging. I started out forging blades and then went to stainless steel mirror polish stuff because of how it resists rust and corrosion and things in the field for deer hunters. You can see the way the blades are shaped. Primarily what you're going to do when you harvest an animal is you've got to get the insides out of it. And so that tip pointed down is perfect when the knife is inverted to get it done without nicking any of those things and making a mess. Do it as cleanly and as efficiently as possible. And you notice there are no finger grooves in any of those handles, because if you have it upside down to do that with, that's uncomfortable in your hand. And what I do with mine, it's more obvious on these two in the middle. There are no sharp corners, no sharp edges on the handles. It fits in your hand like a pistol so that it's comfortable. And like the shifter on a car that's down here, you know, there's no hard edges on that. Those are, now the one on each end, those are collector pieces. They're probably won't ever have any blood on them. So you can get by with making them a little more ornate and a little less utilitarian. These two are made strictly for utilitarian use. The sheep horn has got that natural texture to it. It's very grippable even when wet. Yeah, and this one here has got rope file work on the back and all the way around to the butt of the knife. And then I took the handle material down, and so is this one. Take the handle material down to where that is raised a little bit, to where it kind of looks like a rope necklace. That is done with files and sandpaper, and it's probably about 8 hours to do that on that knife.
Wow.
As a rule, getting something from an established maker like this man, they have a reputation. So with that in mind, you're getting something that they've spent more time on. So you're more likely to get a quality product. Now, if we're talking about somebody that's just getting started making knives and they made 3 or 4, I don't know that you're better off buying from them than you are going and buying a case knife that's been around for 100 years. Those are well-made knives. They're not handmade, but they're well-made. I believe that the best thing you can do buying from somebody like me is to get to know us. Most of the high-end, all of the high-end knife collectors spend a lot of time getting to know you before they buy a knife from you. This one will go to Buenos Aires, Argentina. But that guy and I have spoke back and forth on Messenger I don't know how many times. And he has asked all kinds of questions. And of course, he saw the knife in a magazine. I've been fortunate to have been featured in some magazines. And he saw it there, and that's why he wanted one. And he's just a collector. That's another one. They'll never get any blood on it. But they want to know a lot about you. So, and you know, inevitably what happens with that, you make friends. And that's not a bad thing.
And you, speaking of Buenos Aires, you've sold knives to people in other countries too, right?
Yeah, Mexico, South America, Canada, and all over the United States. There's another one just like this one that'll go to Pennsylvania before the year's over. Yeah, I sell knives all over. The only artistic person in my family was my mother, and she was a custom baker in that she made huge wedding cakes with fountains and stuff like that, and she made cookies for every holiday that were extremely intricate and had a lot of detail to them. And so I guess I got some of her artistic drive and talent from her. I think so. From the time I was a little kid, I wanted to make knives, and I don't know, maybe most boys do, I don't know, but that's when I'm the most happy. I go out to my shop to work on a project, and I think I've been there 30 minutes, and I've been there 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
You know, it just, you forget to eat. You just keep doing what you're doing and look up. I haven't had lunch. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you know.
Wow. That's how you know you love it.
Yeah.
You really
Right,
love it.
and my blood pressure's perfect when I'm in my shop. And I'll tell you, one of the most therapeutic things I can do is sharpen a knife. Get on a stone in one hand and a knife in the other, and I can just, and in no time, I'm just totally relaxed. And I'm accomplishing something at the same time. My wife is happy because all her knives stay sharp. You know? I had started out just wanting to make utilitarian stuff. And then I was out here at Fort Concho, Christmas at Fort Concho, 1993 probably, and saw a man set up out here selling knives. I was like, I want to make stuff that looks like that. The epoxy that I use on the handle is good for 20 years. So you could, and if it's sitting on a shelf not being used, well, it obviously lasts longer than that. So that the handles could need to be replaced. But other than that, if you don't abuse the blade and sharpen it on a grinding wheel or whatever, there's no reason one of these won't last 100 years if it's treated right. That knife there, if this guy's kids get it and take care of it, it could last for generations.
Wow, that's amazing.
Making a knife is like baking a cake. There's all these steps add up to the finished product, and so if there's a tip or a trick out there that you can find that'll help you, I have helped people out, but and I've had other people help me out. There's a man out in Odessa that, if it wasn't for him, I probably never would have learned how to actually grind one. I had tried to, you grind it on a belt, on a wheel, and I would tear it up and throw it away, Finally went out there, he had me grinding knives in a day. I was out there one Saturday afternoon, and there are at least 3 bladesmiths I know that are having classes. Now they're expensive, but you can go spend 3 or 4 days in one of those guys' shop, and whatever it is, $1,000, $1,500, but it's an investment.
Yeah.
And you can know, put you ahead of the curve. You can know a lot right then that it took me years to figure out. You can learn it all in a week and just write a check. There's one in New Braunfels, Texas, twice a year. Now, I think one in October was canceled because of COVID, and you can learn volumes there just by talking to other makers. They have classes, but like we're here, 3 of us standing here talking, you can learn a lot in a weekend in one of those. I think you have to learn some things on your own. I just think you do, or you're not investing yourself in it. But I do wish I had attended more of that, and not just to learn more, but to have that camaraderie. Most of the people that are in the knife world are just really good people. They just are. And I just wished I'd have built, stronger friendships with them earlier. I've got good friends in the knife makers world, but I just wished I'd have. And I always say, well, it's so far, and then, well, you know what? You just suck it up and go and enjoy it. I believe I am headed more toward the artistic side of it now. I have patterns all over my bench for folding knives that I will probably try to get back into after the first of the year. Probably spring of 2021, I'll have some pocket knives made.
That'll be good to look forward to, yeah.
If there's something that you really want to do it, whatever it takes. Like I said, there's so much direction now online. Type it in. There is an international guild of knot tires. People tie knots. If you really want to arrange flowers, go to one of the florists and say, hey, can I help you out for free, just to learn how to arrange flowers. What? Figure out a way to do it. If you can do it an hour a day, that's what I started doing, because I still work full time, and it's a fairly demanding job, but I kept getting further and further behind on my knives. And so I said, you know what? I'm gonna try to work an hour a day when I get home from work. That won't stop the clock. You know, it won't stop anything. So go put an hour into it, then go mow the yard or whatever else you need to do at home. But if you can put an hour in 5 days a week, that's 5 hours toward a finished project, you know, that's whatever it is